this year, Globesyn will be celebrating 20 years of taking people to the next level. What was the vision with which you started this organization?
Well, we are technology people. I have spent 30 years in information technology around the world. And I've realized that one of the very strong ingredients of being a successful IT manager and a general manager or going to the top of the management hierarchy is management science. Knowing structurally the management science part of it. So I decided that if I have to travel and make more and more IT engineers and young people who behaviorally want to be structurally qualified to be management graduates, running and making a business school was the only way out. And that it was with this idea we started Globesyn Business School in 2002.
So currently Globesyn is into education and IT, but we hear also about Globesyn skills. Now, what allows you to operate in such diverse domains yet excel in all of them?
Yeah, first let me answer your question on skills. When I started my business as an entrepreneur, one of the first products which I brought to the market was what was called the finishing school, the software finishing school. It was a pioneering effort in India because I realized what we study in engineering science, any department, and what we work in a company as, any area, they don't match. And there is huge amount of gap between what we study and what we do. Then I traveled around that path and tried to identify for people who have studied electronics, information sciences, information technology, computer sciences, and what kind of gap does it create? While the emergence of a business school need came up through that mechanism, it also was very, very clear that this gap is required to be bridged. That was the basic need of getting into training those days, which was more a finishing school training. So what was finishing school training? Finishing school training had technology of the day, had application engineering, and had behavioral science management. Because in our case, in software, we travel around the world. So if a guy sitting in New York, America, wants to hire a software engineer, those days, he will only know him by a telephone call. And even things like Skype and all were not available those days. So if he has to know him by telephone call, he must be able to speak well, talk well, behave well, and there was a behavioral aspect which was required to be developed. And we gave that training, added that training to the knowledge training of IT, and created a finishing school product, which was coming under the area of skills. So actually, in our case, the business school came later. It was the skills training which was a prime training. But post 2002 and 2004, more around that time, many of the engineering colleges implanted that into their basic curriculum. So the need for giving dedicated skills training still exists, but had been tempered a bit, which is why the business school was required to be created, and we created that.
If you could guide us through the journey of the business school. Now, we hear it was started as a postgraduate program only. Then came the AICPE, and now we hear about NBA and AIU. So, this is guide us through the journey. And
yeah, it is a postgraduate school, or as they say, a graduate school. I had no qualms about it because, you see, in Indian education system, these brackets are independent of one another. A 16-year-old thinking process and a 21-year-old thinking process is completely different. It's a very serious exercise. So, if you are dealing with all kinds of things, undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate, PhD, then I don't know whether one human being as an entrepreneur can do that. It's a very tough call. So, I was most comfortable dealing with people whom I know how to handle. And they were the software engineers who used to come to me and work with me for so many years. And they became managers later and project managers. So graduate school was the first thing which I thought of creating. And we built a graduate school So we only had graduate studies. We didn't have undergraduate at all. And we didn't even have AICT. But we were very clear. The reason we didn't have AICT in the first 5-6 years was because I'm a very brand sensitive guy. And I believe taking up challenges is the way to grow in life. And creating your own brand in the midst of lots of AICT school without having an AICT was a challenge. And once people know that Globson is a good school and no AICT yet, then we can go for AICT. That's exactly what we did in 2011. So we did it for about 5-6 years, and we were packed to capacity those days. 140 students a year, were close to 300 students. We had applied economics, we had advanced finance, lots of scores, relationship with us, with Tulane University, Glasgow University, University of London. We had lots of tie-ups and we did very well ourselves. Then when we shifted to a full-fledged campus, we decided that we should now look at AICT because we fulfill all the terms. And we are already in the market for 5-6 years. It was so much more easier for us to do AICT. So then we, in 2011-12, we became an AICT accredited school, and we have been running as that ever since. Now in AICT, there is a quality assurance wing created about a few years back, which gives a special purpose accreditation called the National Board of Accreditation. It's called NBA. The parent organization of that is AICT, but they have culled out this group of people who are essentially quality engineers and quality assurance people to create a differentiator between the basic standards of AICT and specialized quality standards at a higher level. So typically about 6 to 8% of the business schools under AICT get NBA accreditation. But you can only be an NBA if you have been an AICT for 5 years. So again it was a question of challenge. Again it was a question of going for the next level. And moment we finished in 5 years, that was in 2016, I applied for NBA. And in 2016 December, our NBA inspection took place. And what happened, because it was something which I dreamt of once upon a time, to become one of the top business schools in India, you have to have very, very high quality standards. And quality should be given. Quality should be a way of life. It should not be something you do it only for inspection. So I think that day came to us in the December, January of 2016-17, and by middle of this year, that is 2017, we also got the NBA accreditation for 2 years. And that was a real thing for us. And everybody was very excited. We distributed sweets and everybody was happy. Students were very happy. Ironically enough, the NBA accreditation letter we got on the first day of our new session starting, which is on the 18th of July. So a lot of things happened on that day and we got into that act ourselves. And then once we got the NBA, you couldn't stop us. It take 2 years to do several other things. One of the first things we did, and as per rule, as per law, that if you are an NBA, first I said if you are an AICT, now I'm telling you if you are an NBA, you can get what is called as an equivalence certificate through Association of Indian Universities, AIU. Now what happens is, what is AIU? AIU gives an NBA institute, not an AICT institute, an NBA. That means you've crossed AICT, you've crossed NBA, then you can apply to an AIU for an equivalence certificate. Equivalence certificate means if they give you and you get, means that you satisfy all quality standards, and on top of the satisfying all quality standards, it is a school which will get AIU recognition for whether 2 years or 5 years and all that, which means you will get equivalent to an MBA degree, your PGDM program. For a private institute to get an equivalent to an MBA degree is very different than a private university having an MBA. Please mark my words. See, a private university where you spend 50, 60, 70 crores to have a private university is very, very different, because you'll get private university after that kind of money you spend if you have that kind of money. But for a management institute, which is only an AICT and then an MBA, to get an equivalent certificate means that we are equivalent to an 100% MBA degree as given by any other place in the country and world for just a management science. So we become kind of the vertical, the specialized management science institute. That's a big, big thing for in the world market. Why? Because you can do your PhD now, you can travel abroad for your master's degree now, you can do so many things which even an AICT doesn't allow you to do. So we got the AIU equivalent certificate just about 2 weeks back, and that added another feather to our cap. So today Globson Business School is hugely poised in their 8-acre campus to deliver the best quality for its students. We have a challenge at hand. We need lots and lots of faculties. We have infrastructure. We have no problem with infrastructure. Our campus has 33 classrooms, but we do need to continuously get better and better faculties.
Congratulations on the achievements
Thank
of
you.
Globson Business
Thank
School.
you.
Now, if you could just lay out, with NBA and AIU coming in, what are the benefits for the institution and the stakeholders, which are the students, the alumni, the parents, and the recruiters?
See, the fundamental benefits are in 2 or 3 lines. First, it assures anybody, all these stakeholders you mentioned, it assures anybody that this institute is very high on quality, and it has passed through all quality norms and standards by the best possible quality assessors in the country, which is NBA. And that is assured now, because otherwise we wouldn't have been an NDA accredited. So that's a very, very strong kind of support. Second, you get to do your master's program anywhere in the world. You get recognition for government agencies giving you program with your equivalent certificate. So your access becomes very, very liberal, because your quality, again coming back to quality is assured. Third is, with this exercise which you do, there is no limitation of number of seats. It's only a question of just giving a letter. If you have fulfilled 120, you get to 180. If you've done 180, you get to 240. If you've done 240, you get to 320. So the number restriction opens up, which means you can keep on enlarging your school to any level as long as you're delivering MBA quality and as long as you have the necessary infrastructure and faculties to do it. So it completely opens up high quality education standards.
So listening to you, it seems that NBA is not just another accreditation. With such expectations on quality control, what are the challenges that lie ahead of Globson Business School, and how you would like to tackle them?
Oh, the challenges are many. First challenge is, I have to make everybody believe what I believe. That in itself, throughout my life, has been a big challenge. That if I believe that nothing is impossible for us, we can, like a fledgling institute, from a fledgling institute, come to this level. Everybody has to believe that. And mind you, any cognitive belief is not that easy. People will say yes, yes, but they internally might not have that level of conviction. And so they have to see that conviction first in my eyes, and then in the people who manage and run their eyes, and it's a slow process. Once everybody in the institute is convinced about where actually we are, then perhaps the rest of the things become easier. So we have to cross the first challenge, that we have to make others believe in what we believe.
So Globson Business School is well on its way to become not just one of the best in Eastern India, which was rated earlier by Business India ranking last year, but eventually going into the top-run schools nationally. So if that is the case with Globson Business School, then you talked about Globson skills and what you're focusing on. Is still IT the way forward for Globson Finishing School?
Yeah, more or less Globson Finishing School is going to graduate into IT and behavioral sciences. because these are the two areas which will be required even for management science. So we are fundamentally graduating ourselves into a management institution of global repute. That's the direction we have to go. And our expansion programs, whatever we do, will be in line with what we have built the management institute. Whether we can build similar thing in any other area, only then we will go into the other area. In our case, doing an university right now at this stage doesn't look as a necessity or the way to maintain quality, because we have already reached the highest quality standard. So we might do multiple satellite centers and satellite specialization, each like the management institute, going forward.
Your background in IT seems to be the driving force behind all your initiatives in Globsin. So, but where does the IT vertical of Globsin stand?
As in the company?
The company.
Oh, yeah, that's a separate company. That's not education. That's an IT business you're talking about. What we did was, when we were getting into this education sphere, we created an edifice which was earlier called Globsin Infotech. And we were actually a little less focused on Infotech than what we were in education. But I have two sons, many of you know, and one of them is a computer engineer from Syracuse, and he's done his MBA Finance from Imperial College, Romit. And so Romit took over whatever state our IT business was in. And we had a few customers in US, in Europe, and we were doing a lot of banking products and services, having acquired a software company, banking software company, way back in 2005, 2006. So we put all those together and created a company, and Romit believed that the future is for products, software products rather than services. So he created an R&D, he started developing products one after the other, and today, though our cash cow still remains the services, but we are well on our way to create global software products. And that company is growing about 100% every year, and it's doing extremely well. And it's a very high energy company. We have changed the name from Globsin Infotech to Third Life, and it's called the Third Life. And Romit, my son, runs it, whereas Rahul, my other son, they're twin brothers, run the education and skills business.
An interesting name, Third Life. So, products is the future of the IT industry.
Yeah.
If you all could, then if you could kindly tell us some of the products that you all are working on, something which wouldn't really harm your guys, like if you're working on something, what you could, it would be nice.
There are three areas where the world is getting directed now, if I have to bring all of them together. One is, of course, artificial intelligence. I mean, it's making so much difference to the society now, and you can mark my word, that is going to be an area to reckon with. Second is the area of big data, as we call it, huge data, because without data you can't do anything. So big data, or data analytics as it's called, is going to be the second very big area. And third area is, there is nothing called software or hardware today anymore. It's a convergence of software and hardware, and that comes under what we call as IoT, which is Internet of Things. IoT actually is a systems integration product, which earlier, in our early days of IT, we used to look at it from hardware to system engineering, and now all those has got mixed up, and that's a big area. It's a very complicated area, but it's a big area. Globsin Infotech or Third Life is going to be in all these three areas.
So if you could just elaborate on some of the innovations that you are bringing in IoT.
Before time, I have to take my son's permission to do it. But yeah, we have our products patented, and we are looking at having global patents for our product. But the line is very clear. We have a banking company, so we have a lot of software banking products like reconciliation and others. We are getting further productized, and they will be offered in the marketplace. And we have a lot of products in the area of advocacy, which is legal side. We have other products like that, and they are all getting together to be available. But mind you, they all will be available for the global market, including India.
So Globson enters into a new decade. What are there the cast of Globson Business School, Finishing School, and Third Life? Or are you getting into some new verticals altogether? Stepping into this new era of Globson?
I think I'm first of all making a transition from me to my sons. I have had a wonderful innings with blessings from so many people. So I would like to really play the role of the chairman of the group and help my organization to grow, because unless you allow fresh thinking to come into your own system, the system doesn't grow. So I think both my sons are quite capable, and they are looking along with their team, and we have a very aggressive bunch of young people who are almost entrepreneurs, and we are quite happy to have a good team with us, and they are all working almost 24/7, and they're leading. They've got lots of plans. I'm available to support them, and maybe wherever finances and other things are required, structural finance is required, I'm supporting them, and I lead them for sure.
So what is next for BDG? Will we witness any new innovations from you?
BDG is very clearly looking Globson as one of its areas. I am looking at the fresh entrepreneurs world. I've been always very, very keen on youth. And I am looking at, I've already invested in about 18 companies, and I look to set up an incubation center. I've already named it a startup cafe, and that will be part of my Globson Crystal's office. It's a 25-seater internet incubation center where I say ideate, innovate, and incubate. So I think there are 3 stages, and we would love to see. I will basically mentor and guide youngsters there. So that's my primary thing. I write books. I've created a lot of technologies for the market, like the finishing school, like the intelligent buildings, like a lot of things which I've done, and all of them I've innovated. There are products to show in the market. So I would like to write books on, apart from my memoir, which is coming out in January. So I'm busy. I'm busy with a lot of other things. Time will say what I'll do next.